Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this couples edition of what we've decided to start calling The Real, I guess. It's kind of a nice little working title. I don't know if that's going to be the official direction that we're going to go to, but we want to work on becoming more official, and branding seems like a good place to start. So, the work in progress title right now. I think that's going to end up being what we stick with, but if inspiration hits us, I guess we're going to keep the door open.
If you have any suggestions, please email us.
Yeah, we're desperate. We are desperate.
You can have my card.
It's a nice card sitting here telling me bonjour.
Oh, yeah.
Thing of beauty. So, we're going to get right into it and cover the tradition of covering Marvel stuff because that's all that is in the news as far as movies is concerned. If we're going to be talking about movies in any given week, we're probably going to end up talking about Marvel. And this week, Infinity Wars has announced filming.
Yes.
Which is interesting to hear a nice little confirmation from that so early.
28th of February in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just happy they finally have their stuff on the ground. Mm-hmm. It's moving. Like, this is great stuff.
And this is really like the first opening that we're going to see of Phase 3?
Almost? I think so.
The phase thing that they're doing.
The phase stuff they're doing.
Phase thing.
Yeah.
This is going to be where you really see everything kind of starting to intertwine. There's a little bit of kind of the street level stuff that we saw in the Civil War material where everything kind of converged. This is going to be the big converging here with a cast list that is a million miles long, covering the casts of basically everybody that you can possibly imagine in the Avengers, along with everybody you can possibly imagine in the Guardians of the Galaxy. And a couple other names here that you might find familiar, like Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange and Tom Holland as the Spider-Man.
Honestly, it's a real who's who of the Marvel universe.
I can't even imagine how much money they're going to be spending on the casting on this one. It is just the longest list I have ever seen of the biggest stars I have ever heard of, essentially.
And this is really it's a high hopes to pull something great off. I mean, you have such a great cast, you have an unlimited budget at this point, and you have some great stories. How can this not fail?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much they kind of utilize this opportunity to try to break the mold, because I think everybody's, hoping that there's a little bit of a mold breaking going on where Marvel's become a little bit formulaic, I think. I think people can kind of see the direction that a Marvel movie is going to go at any given time. And I am hopeful, and I'm sure many people are hopeful, that Thanos in his role as the... that's who Josh Brolin is. I forgot that Josh Brolin was Thanos. Can kind of break the mold of what we expect from a Marvel villain. Because I can, Loki and...
Loki's okay.
Yeah.
But he's not really, he's not a villain anymore. He's just kind of
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how to explain it.
It's a weird thing to think about.
Whereas, I know he's an antagonist, but I don't feel any sense of dread or anything.
I never understood the appeal of the Loki thing. That is, I feel like everybody kind of making a big deal about that's the argument against the bad Marvel villains thing. I guess is that everybody touts Loki. He's not my favorite. I don't really see what sets him apart from the other ones personally. The most different one to me is the oh man, I'm about to compliment a character that I honestly can't even remember the name of, but the antagonist of the Civil War, that kind of conniving dude that set Cap and Iron Man up against each other. I thought that was a really interesting way to take a Marvel villain and something that I definitely didn't expect out of a Marvel film. A nice change of pace for sure.
And I think with all these changes, we're looking at possibly a really great product at the end.
I hope so.
I really want to know where they go in terms of character development, especially as you said, it's a new phase and whatnot. What is this going to mean for their interpretations and whatnot?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm excited overall.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I am nervous that my heart isn't going to be able to handle the amount of snark in a this triple threat cast of Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark and Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange and Star-Lord, Chris Pratt's Star-Lord. Just the amount of snark and comedy is going to be interesting as far as how they deal with it tonally. Because I feel like it could very easily just become a little bit too comedy saturated. And that's kind of an issue that I have with the Marvel stuff in general, if I'm completely honest, is that it doesn't necessarily feel like it's taking itself seriously all the time. Some people might like that. Some people might think that's a plus. For me personally, I think it kind of detracts from a lot of the drama that I would like to see. I guess I'm just a person that leans a little bit more towards the dark and edgy interests of film.
We got a real art kid here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go dye my hair black and put on some eyeshadow. But there's a lot to look forward to for Infinity Wars.
Mm-hmm.
A long time to look forward to it. It's funny thinking about that as far as
Yeah,
the more than a year now, and we're
like this
already
is an
talking about
exciting
this.
thing for us.
Yeah, it's weird that this is progress to me because Infinity Wars is something that we've known has been coming for a very, very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the first mention of the Infinity Wars was probably Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
Or however many years ago when they put out their Grand Master Marvel
Mm-hmm.
plan going all the way out to 2020,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because we're nearing the end of that, as crazy as that is.
I just think how weirdly different like times have changed. Think about it.
Yeah.
Like now we're like we know movies are coming out like 10 years ahead of time.
Seriously.
Like Avatar, with their 5 sequels.
Yeah, that we talked
This
about
we
last
know
week.
like 2020. Like we know what's happening
Yeah.
next. Like what do you think? What do you think this does for like creativity and stuff? Don't you think like that just limits certain things?
I guess I don't really look at it so much as limiting creativity, but maybe limiting spontaneity, maybe because
Definitely.
I'd like to believe that all the creativity is still in there. It's just that it's creativity that happens long before it shows up on screen in front of our eyes. Where I like to believe that they have talented writers that are putting material into this and they're
Yeah,
taking
of
it
course.
seriously and they're putting out a product that they can be happy about. I don't see it hurting creativity. Just I guess hurting the surprise factor.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to be interesting as we near the end of that whole master plan Marvel thing and seeing what they're going to be doing for the next kind of iteration of that, whether they're going to go again and say, yeah, we liked the idea of putting out everything that we're doing for the next 8 years. So we're going to do that again, except maybe plus size. Like now you're going to know the Marvel schedule for every decade as soon as the decade begins, Like as soon as we enter the 2020s, we're going to know every single Marvel movie going out to 2030 when they're fighting the one above all or something. I don't even know.
Why not?
I can't wait to see the more cosmic threats
Oh yeah.
come in because I don't really even know how this happened, but have been on a bit of not so much a comics binge just because I don't necessarily like go out and read the comics, but a lot of like comics focused content on YouTube. Comics Explained is the channel that I'm mostly thinking of, and for whatever reason I got really deep into like Fantastic Four galactic level stuff, and it's going to be interesting when we can see stuff like that, like the Celestials and like a good interpretation of Galactus if we're ever able to see that, which is kind of hard to see coming anywhere close because that is very inherently tied with the Fantastic Four stuff, and I think we're going to end up seeing another Fantastic Four reboot origin story thing before we see anything else, unfortunately. And it's a sad thing to think about, but I don't know, maybe it's for the greater good.
Probably, definitely for the greater good. That last one was just a horrible disaster.
And it sucks too because the Fantastic Four stories, once you get deeper into them, are just so interesting. And I recognize that they need some kind of a foothold to get to the point where they can tell those big galactic, universal, multiversal even level stories. And it's just hard to see how many times we're going to have to sit through reboots and origin stories to be able to get to that point.
Oh, I know, right?
It's rough. Yeah. So I think we have covered our Marvel quota for this episode.
Marvel quota fixed. Stay tuned for next week.
Exactly. Everybody can look forward to next week when we're talking about whatever the hell else is going on in the world of Marvel, and as a result in the world of Disney, and as a result in the world of every American's life ever.
Don't worry, it's usually not that grim.
It's usually not that grim. I, for one, welcome our Disney overlords. Anyway, shitty internet memes aside, we're going to talk a little bit about Denzel Washington and Colin Farrell signing on to the new legal drama by Dan Gilroy. It's called Inner City. Dan Gilroy is the director / writer of Nightcrawler. He's handling the solo director / writer work of Inner City. And I am very, very excited about this because those are some big names in the form of Denzel Washington and Colin Farrell. And after having seen Nightcrawler, I have a lot of faith in Dan Gilroy's directing and writing ability because I have a very, very high opinion of that film.
Of course, Nightcrawler was honestly a beautiful film, and I can't wait to see how he takes us into like this kind of legal setting.
Yeah, for sure.
It's gonna be something to look forward to, especially with Denzel Washington. Like he's done a lot of like legal stuff over the years, and it's like this is nice.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting seeing if there's any kind of carryover between kind of like because Nightcrawler was kind of an industry film in a way where it covered a lot of the inherent darkness of that industry, of the reporting industry, just through the eyes of this one particular sociopath. It's going to be interesting if those same darknesses are kind of covered in the same light as in Inner City, if they're going to kind of move that into looking at the legal industry, looking at the dark side of that, because reading the plot summary that I saw had a lot of focus on that, because Denzel Washington, I believe, is going to be playing the main character. The whole focus is basically him kind of coming into this position of power in a firm that he used to be kind of like partner / subordinate in, and realizing kind of the darkness of what his firm is about, and as a result, what the industry is about. And I can't think of a better kind of transition for Dan Gilroy as a director into that, given what I know about what he's capable of doing with Nightcrawler. Just because that systemic, I guess, darkness is an interesting thing to show, and through the right character and the right actor, that'll be a good way to show it, I think.
And honestly, pretty much you said it all right there.
I like to talk.
Well, good thing we have a podcast.
Yeah, it's a good thing I got a microphone and a podcast and a laptop. Oh, man. So, only so much to talk about that, given that it's in the very, very, very early stages, that I believe I saw a 2018 release on that as well.
2018, a really big year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really big year, I'm sure. What isn't a big year these days, though?
Oh, I know, right?
Like, Jesus.
Everything's starting, everything's keeping going.
Yeah, exactly. Especially considering how franchise-heavy we are. It always seems like every single franchise is trying for the next...
How many franchises are we running at right now? We have Marvel franchise,
We got the Marvel stuff, we have the DC stuff, Star Wars, Star Trek to a lesser degree. That one's not as regular as the other ones. Soon to be Avatar.
Soon to be in there.
Let's see here. I can't necessarily think of other stuff.
Is Lego making any other movies?
Yes.
Yeah, so then that's
I know for a fact that Lego Ninjago is a thing, which is going to be interesting to see, just because Ninjago is a weird one that doesn't get talked about a lot. Like, it's kind of this weird little thing.
It has its market. It's not very big.
Yeah, so that'll be an interesting thing to see, the way that it moves out of film. Franchises are weird, though, man.
Oh, I know.
It's a weird thing to think about.
It's the future.
I guess so. I don't know how I feel about that, but I guess so. Oh, man. They're still not getting... Like, I feel like they're still... Dropping business cards. Not getting the... say, attention necessarily the big franchises aren't, compared to all the little one-offs and dramatic flicks and everything like that. I feel like, as far as Oscar stuff goes, they're still fairly... I don't know if underrepresented is a word, just because I don't necessarily think that those franchise films are of the highest quality. They're enjoyable. They're good popcorn flicks, but that's about it.
Yeah. Which is ultimately, like, the best thing. I mean,
yeah,
it has to be entertaining. Like, you don't need it to be, like,
exactly
all the time.
Every once in a while, you actually need a movie that's supposed to be enjoyable and entertaining. We don't need everything to be Oscar bait.
Ooh. No, never mind.
What, did you just, like, think you had a segue there and not quite?
No, I remembered something I needed to get later.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. We're going to leave that up in the air. That would be a mystery for some other time, ladies and gentlemen.
Any other day.
Any other day. Talking about movies that aren't necessarily part of franchises, what direction am I going to go with that? That's so open-ended. Holy hell. On my little list of show notes here, I can go in two different directions with that. I'm going to go with what I think is the more interesting one, which is that David Fincher is interested in directing the World War Z sequel. And what's interesting about that to me is the fact that, one, World War Z is big enough to get a sequel. I learned that was like a big blockbuster Hollywood success. That surprised me, because I don't have very high opinions of the film.
Really?
Yeah. It's interesting, because every like context that I heard about for that film is how much it had butchered the source material.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
So, yeah, that's a thing. And the reason why this is interesting about David Fincher having an interest in directing this is that the film just got pulled off of Paramount's filming schedule. Doesn't appear anywhere in 2017 or 2018, and yet David Fincher and Paramount are outward saying that even though they don't have any filming done yet, they don't have any filming scheduled yet, they don't really have a signed-on director. They still want a 2018-2019 release, which is a weird thing to think about. Like, I don't know how that's going to be.
Especially with David Fincher, because, I mean, if you look at, how his films work out, they're really beautifully crafted.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Will they have the time to, like, really give in an honest effort to this? That's what I'm really afraid of.
Yeah, it's a thought to have, especially because I don't necessarily think of David Fincher as, like a few, like... World War Z is like a blockbuster action spectacle film in a way, and that's an interesting director to put behind that kind of thing, I think.
Well, who better? I think especially, I mean, given the first one, like you said, you didn't have that great, that high of an opinion of it, The first one, I agree. It wasn't like the
Yeah.
best film. It was somewhat entertaining, but I felt like it was definitely unpolished, and it could have been
Yeah,
better.
unpolished is a good word. I'm just like I hesitate to accept film as the proper medium to show this story. If I'm honest, the like whatever settings that I had heard it into, people that were big fans of the book World War Z thought that the best way to do it would be something like an HBO or a Netflix miniseries, or even more interesting and even more out there, like a radio drama thing, which is an interesting thing to think about. But I think the general opinion is that there's not going to be a proper World War Z screen adaptation, just because it's not the thing that could be so easily adapted to screen.
It really isn't.
Yeah, I think so too. More films to talk about, and this one's a weird one. This is completely out of left field. I didn't expect this at all, but Trevor Moore put on his Instagram that there's going to be filming for a Whitest Kids You Know movie,
Really?
which was interesting to me because it's a skit show,
Yeah.
and I don't know what a skit show. I mean, Monty Python's a skit show too, I guess.
Think about
so. I mean, sure, I'm all for it. Parody is in kind of a sad state these days, as far as like feature length film adaptation goes. There's a lot of good parody like through independent stuff online, YouTube and stuff like that. But as far as feature length films on the level of your Monty Python films, like your Life of Brian and Meaning of Life and Holy Grail, or your Mel Brooks stuff like Spaceballs, Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, stuff like that, it just doesn't really have a representation in the film market that we're looking at today. And so there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, I know. There definitely is.
I asked you briefly about it before we started recording, but you have a bit of a history with Whitest Kids, you know, right? Like you are familiar with.
Yeah, I watch it every now and then.
And there are a couple of really, really interesting. And I'm hoping that it isn't like some feature length skit show, essentially.
Basically, like Jackass.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that it's not that.
Yeah.
They have a lot of very, very, very great classic skits that they could do something like that with. Like some of the ones that come to mind are they have a gun control skit that's fantastic. One called Sniper Business that's very funny about two like New York business executives who are opposite each other in buildings on Wall Street taking pot shots at each other with sniper rifles out the window to kind of eliminate the competition. The Nerf nuke. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
No, I
if
haven't
any of these, or my personal favorite being The Grapist, which is.
Oh yeah,
have you seen The Grapist?
The Grapist. Yeah.
The Grapist being a potential mascot for a child's grape juice. They call him The Grapist, and he goes around angrily shouting at kids, talking about how he's going to grape them in the mouth. The best quote from that being, "I'm going to tie you to the radiator and grape you for decades and decades and decades." It's some dark shit, man.
It's the darkest shit
It's
possible.
some dark shit. It's some good shit,
allowed.
though. It takes some really dark minds. I've heard Trevor Moore, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
On Joe Rogan podcast a couple of times. It's pretty good to kind of get into the mind of that one. Yeah. So.
But yeah, I mean, this is good news. I really want to see like how they're gonna do it. I hope they go for like some giant story.
I do too. I think that parody in feature length film is in desperate need of a revival, and I'm having a hard time thinking of a more iconic like skit. I mean, we had Keanu from Key and Peele, and from what I understand, that was a success. I never saw it.
Same, I didn't see it either.
The opinions of it seem to be pretty high. So I guess that is kind of a step in the right direction, I suppose. But I don't know. I guess it's just a matter of kind of my personal biases and personal history that I'm more excited about that potential revival coming from the Whitest Kids You Know, who I did kind of like, I guess, grew up on, for lack of a better term. You know, those early seedy days of YouTube.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to Key and Peele that I don't necessarily have that history with. But exciting stuff.
Overall, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I'm having a hard time thinking of this as bad news.
I know.
Yeah. So we're going to move away from... We're talking about really early kind of conceptual stuff with this. We talked about 4 films so far that either are just beginning filming or haven't begun filming at all yet.
This is the concept episode.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the concept episode of The Reel. We're going to move on to something a little bit more concrete. So the Super Bowl was a thing last week.
The Super Bowl.
They had a couple of trailers on there. The big one to me being the Pirates of the Caribbean trailer.
Yes, that trailer was...
It's a great trailer, right? I don't know how you feel. How do you feel about the Pirates series, about the Pirates franchise?
Okay, I just feel like ever since they lost, Will Turner and everyone, like the fourth movie sucked. Like I couldn't watch
I
it.
avoided it. I avoided it,
You
and
didn't.
I want to fill in that gap now that I see the fifth movie, and
Yeah.
am very, very excited for it.
I want to see the fifth movie. Like I heard so much about it, like in
Mhm.
terms of story and whatnot, and like what
Beca-
they want to do with it.
Because that missing link that you
Mhm.
were missing is back now. Will
Yeah.
Turner is back now as a character in the fifth film, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. I believe I heard that right. I don't think Keira Knightley's back,
Mm.
but I'm pretty sure that Orlando Bloom is back as Will Turner.
Yeah.
So that's exciting
So
stuff.
yeah, no, it's really exciting to see. Like where has he been all these years?
Yeah, and I, having not seen the fourth film, have a pretty high opinion of that series.
Mm.
Like as far as
Like I love the series.
I love it too. As far as mindless blockbusters goes, like Pirates
the
is
one.
pretty high up there. I think the first two especially are like classic.
Yeah.
My personal favorite being the second one, personally.
My personal was like third one.
The third one, really.
I love the third one.
I don't remember enough about the third one, if I'm completely honest.
It's
Because
really-
that's the one with the big like world war, basically, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Like
Yeah.
they fight the final battle in like that giant
The whirlpool.
the whirlpool.
Yeah. It's a good series.
It is.
I like it.
And it's
Again,
I'm
having
happy
not
to
seen
see
it.
it like come back on screen. You know.
With the force to be reckoned with that is Javier Bardem as the main villain. I am so excited for that.
I know. I remember in the trailer I saw like I saw a shot of like the Ghost Pirates, and I could swear I saw him like just for that second, and he looks like badass.
His first introduction as Captain Salazar in that first trailer that we got many months ago. I want to say something like 3 or 4 months ago now. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Is like horrifying. It's fantastic. And the makeup that they have on him is every bit as good as you would expect out of a Pirates movie.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I feel like that might be the best part about the Pirates thing is makeup and wardrobe.
Yeah. They
And,
really
and,
put an
and
effort.
set design.
Yeah, because they really put an effort to make this world like its own.
Visually speaking, it is just such a distinctive world. And you look at Javier Bardem as Captain Salazar, and it just screams Pirates of the Caribbean right from the beginning. So definitely something to be excited about for them. I'm on the topic of revivals, I guess. Talking about parody revival, and I feel like Pirates is in a little bit of need of that kind of revival.
Oh, definitely.
They lost a lot of credibility. I feel like with that fourth film.
They lost.
Because I don't think I've heard a positive opinion of the fourth film.
I mean, it has its moments, but
That's about the most positive opinion I generally hear. Is it's got its moments. I mean, you can't ask for like too much more. The first ones were never like groundbreaking or revolutionary.
I mean, they don't have to be groundbreaking.
They don't have to be groundbreaking.
For a movie,
just fun.
just
fun.
disappointed.
Yeah. And I've heard a big complaint about the fourth movie is that it just becomes way too much of the Johnny Depp Jack Sparrow show.
Oh yeah.
If you agree
Like,
with
just
that?
immediately.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping that there's a lot of that flooding, because to me, Jack Sparrow as a character has definitely been a big part of the Pirates franchise, but I've always looked at that as a very villain-centric franchise. Like Captain Barbossa, Davy Jones, Calypso. I don't know anything about the fourth movie, and now Captain Salazar have all been the more interesting parts to me than just about any of the main characters, if I'm totally honest. And from what I understand, that was kind of a department that was lacking in the fourth movie as well, the villain department.
It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really I think the one thing I do hope for though with this movie is that it captures the original spirit of Pirates, because I think that's
I think so
too. The fourth one, no spirit,
Really?
just no spirit. I mean, again, like they took away some really like important characters. Which, if you think about it, the Pirates franchise isn't just Jack Sparrow. It's like
No,
the
definitely not
ensemble,
just Jack
it's the
Sparrow.
crew, and they were missing like everyone there. And I thought, this isn't the same.
Yeah, they took a bit of a gamble on seeing whether it really was just the Jack Sparrow show or not, and found out that it actually wasn't. In that, if anything, Jack Sparrow kind of needs that punctuation in the middle of it
That's
for him
true.
to be all that compelling, because he straddles the line between annoying and compelling.
He does.
And when you get rid of that punctuation, and it starts to become just a little bit more one-sided, a little bit more one-sided. I think there's a lot of potential in this fifth film, though.
Yeah.
Because of the return of the classic characters like Will Turner, and because of Javier Bardem. Obviously, that's probably where most of my high expectations come from. Is from Javier Bardem as a villain, because he's fucking terrifying.
He is.
It's fantastic. He's fucking terrifying.
I still have nightmares. The stupid bowl cut. Remember?
Oh yeah, the bowl cut.
From No Country for Old Men.
The flip a coin in the gas station. I've never seen No Country for Old Men. I know.
Really?
I know. I know.
What?
I know. One of regrets.
You're gonna watch it like
At some point, yeah.
Watch
I
it
would.
tonight.
I would have been watching it tonight. We would have made a thing out of it. But if you'll notice, we're missing one David Sorekanich.
Oh yeah.
Which means that I'm not gonna like actively seek out watching the movie on my own. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Just watch it.
I know. Probably next weekend if I'm.
All right,
honest.
why not?
Hopefully, I don't get another screenplay to read assigned because we've been using the movie nights to read all the screenplays we've been getting assigned for TRF 211.
Oh, yeah.
So, Godfather last weekend, Godfather 2 last week, and Godfather 1 the weekend before, and Spotlight the week before that. So,
I think I have to write a script out for one of my classes.
yeah, I do too. I got
Actions.
a 3-page script pulled up right here actually that I just worked on this afternoon before we started recording.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, same here. Because again, that would have been the way I dedicated my weekend if Dave was here, because we do like the movie nights all the time. But he's not here, which means I'm gonna end up watching LCS and Game of Thrones.
Nice.
So that about there's some boring number stuff to talk about here. Talk about
You guys
once
wanna
again
talk
our
about
overlords of Disney. We got some time to kill. Why not?
Why not?
They closed out 2016 with an $842 million net profit in the last quarter.
Why don't you just let that sink in your mind real quick?
Yeah, that number there. The full 2016 number rounds to something in the realm of about $3 billion.
$3 billion.
$3.5 billion, something like that. This is all kind of off the top of my head number stuff that I saw kind of tossed around. I'm not actually sitting here with my TI-84 doing the math or anything. But just know the numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
They're crazy, man.
Like, that's how big our industry is. And this is why it's important we have, discussions about these sorts of stuff. Because,
Yeah, exactly.
that's what we want to go into.
Lots of dollars being thrown around
Oh,
here.
yeah.
The big three, obviously, for that last quarter being Moana, Doctor Strange, and Rogue One. All of which went absolutely massive.
Oh, yeah.
As one can imagine. And from what I understand, the most positively received of which would have been Moana on that list, which is a nice surprise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Once again, we're going to be keeping an eye out for Best Animated stuff when it comes to the Oscars. In 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
28th?
Yeah,
Something like
28th.
that? Or 26th. 2 weeks today, I believe.
Nice.
So, now that we talked about all the numbers really quickly, that about covers the stuff that I had on my list. Brian, you said you had a couple that were kind of
Just
of
more
interest.
numbers, honestly.
More numbers, really?
Yeah, more,
Some box office stuff?
yeah, box office stuff. Lego Batman closes up number 1 this weekend.
That
It's projected to close up number 1.
is weird to me, because at one end, I'm really not all that surprised. Just because I think most people have a pretty high opinion of the Lego movies, which is a really weird spot to be in. But didn't expect that to do poorly by any stretch. I remember reading discussion threads and reaction threads on Reddit, and everybody making a big deal about how, yes, this is the best Batman movie that we've had since the Nolan or since The Dark Knight. And I'm like, that's actually true, isn't it? Holy shit.
But yeah, I mean, I have plans to go watch it within the week, and I thought a lot about the first movie. I thought it was a really funny and entertainable movie.
The Lego movie you're talking about?
Yeah, Lego movie.
The Lego movie, yeah. I saw it kind of in passing. I didn't really, take the pen and pad to it by any stretch, but I enjoyed what little of it I saw on some random summer day where my little brother just wanted to watch it, so that happened. But I certainly had a high opinion of it, and I think there's a lot of room for comedy and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And it's a nice surprise, too, because I don't think anybody would have expected something... What the hell was that? Something so gimmicky. Sorry for that interruption. I have no idea what that sound was. But something so gimmicky to turn into such like a cultural landslide that was the Lego movie. And the whole, like, everything is awesome, all that stuff going absolutely massive. And it's a nice surprise for sure. And after they have broken that mold, it didn't surprise me whatsoever that Lego Batman had done well.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the voice talents of Will Arnett behind it.
Oh yeah.
Though I cannot think of that voice anymore without thinking about BoJack. It's ruined me.
Really?
I remember being in the screening in the theater to see Sing back in the middle or beginning of January, something like that. And the trailer came on for the Nut Job 2, which also stars the voice talents of Will Arnett playing like this crazed squirrel dude. And all I could think of is like, hey, BoJack Squirrelman, basically. So I can't not think of BoJack? Like, why is Will Arnett in this happy movie?
I think he was in a new show on Netflix recently. What was it, like Flaked or something?
I'm not sure.
Well, I watched an episode of it, and it was basically just BoJack, only in real life.
Just in real life BoJack.
Real life BoJack. Only
Is he playing like basically the BoJack character?
basically a BoJack character, only worse, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, not like worse. In worse circumstances, I guess.
Damn. That's got to be so depressing.
Yeah, no, he's depressing.
The BoJack circumstances make me want to die.
I know.
Make me want to die. That's a nice little jumping off point, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about kind of the surprise that was the Lego movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like Sony, first of all, let it be known that Sony movies at least are fucking up. I think that's been pretty widely
Sony's
established.
been fucking up.
They have an Emoji Movie coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what to think about that. Because on the one hand, my mind is like, what the hell? They're making a movie about emojis. Why are they doing this? This is awful. Kill it, kill it, kill it with fire. And on the other hand, I'm like, I mean, the Lego movie worked.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the fact that I have an emoji pillow. And
Do you have an emoji pillow?
I actually do.
With like a bunch of emojis or one particular
just
face?
Just one emoji.
What face?
It's the poopy one.
Oh, the turd.
Yeah,
Got it. The
yeah,
turd.
I have that, and I kept thinking.
I believe the turd. I believe the turd is one of the central characters of the Emoji Movie.
I think
by the
so
way.
too.
I saw him in the trailer.
Yeah, no, but I'm not even the only one that has it. I know my sister has one of these, and like people have it. I thought like this could sell. I think a movie of this could easily sell.
Yeah,
just
I
as
know,
well.
but I'm having such a hard time picturing some weird reality where the Emoji Movie is like good.
Hey, think about like
Sell me on the Emoji Movie, Brian Sanchez.
okay, think about Star Wars. Ready?
Oh God! All right, I'm ready.
Some flying space wizards.
Okay,
From this
thinking of Space Wizards.
space wizards, right? Decide to fight against a whole army or empire
Whole
of
army.
soldiers in like the matching uniforms.
Yeah, Nazi
So
uniforms.
how do they beat them? They blow up a giant thing in space.
Got it. Now I'm all of a sudden picturing the Death Star with a smiley face on it.
There you go.
Is that your whole argument?
That's my whole argument.
I'm having a hard
If that could
I'm
be a
having a hard
movie,
time translating it.
Okay, if that could be a movie, then the Emoji Movie could be a movie. If you really-
Somehow I'm not sold. Call me crazy, but I'm somehow not going sold.
Okay.
You should be a salesman, Brian Sanchez.
I'd be a great salesman.
You should be a salesman.
I'd totally get my commission.
I'm not sold on the Emoji Movie. Oh, hi, Cello.
That happened. You want to chime in too? Hey, look, we have a new Dave.
It can go as deep as Dave, maybe, as far as the voice is concerned.
Huh. Nice.
Oh man. I'm not quite sold on the Emoji Movie.
It's gonna happen. It's already happened.
It's gonna be great. You are already a proponent of the Emoji Movie.
Yes.
Good.
Emoji Movie.
Good.
Tell your parents.
Yeah. Well, that seems like a pretty natural conclusion to this. Running a little bit short than usual, but I'll accredit that to us being a man down and very, very short on interesting topics because kind of dull
February.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. We're in the doldrums.
Oh,
I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about in the coming weeks to kind of Oscar prep stuff.
Oscar stuff. Talking about how our Valentine's Day went.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about all the Valentine's Day stuff.
You're saying that in a sad voice. You have a girlfriend. I don't.
I know. I was trying to just make it funny. It didn't work.
No.
I get to spend, because my birthday is Valentine's Day, so I get to spend my Valentine's Day with my girlfriend and my parents.
Oh my god. Nice.
Oh, man.
While you do that, I'll be in the cage all day.
Oh, will you be in the cage all day?
Be in the cage. I'm pretty sure I'm picking up shifts again.
Happy Valentine's Day, Brian.
I'm literally gonna give everyone candy whenever they walk by.
You should like slip a little like sweetheart into everybody's case when they go and rent something out. You should just put a little like chocolate in.
You know, oh crap! I need to go buy some Valentines later.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You got some chicks to impress?
No, they already know I'm a piece of trash. But no, I need to get them because I give them out all the time. I did that last year.
Gotcha.
Might as well do it again.
Oh damn, my snap really like made some noise on this thing. Whoops. All right, we're gonna actually end this now. We'll see you next week. Have a good day.
Bye.